What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Doom This Device Gaming. Today with us, we've got introduce yourself.
Joshua Allen.
Joshua Allen, and what the hell did you just do in the last couple of weeks?
I got 111th place. I know, awesome I know, with Generators at this past Fort Worth Regional.
And you've also been killing it at Locals with it too, right?
I have been killing it at Locals too. Getting in top 4, beat 1 Locals at first place, 2 in second place, and 1 within top 8. Did not make top 4, unfortunately, but hey, that's just how it goes.
Hell yeah, man, that's awesome, bro. Not too many people play Generators. That's cool. What made you play the deck?
Well, more or less just the theme for it. I really fell in love with the theme. I wasn't trying to play it, but Mystic Fighters came out. I was more interested in MathMech at the time.
MathMech best deck, let's go.
Exactly. And so we got that together, and somebody got the MathMech stuff. I forgot what else. It was Dragon Maids, I think, that came out in that, right? Then I was left with Generators, and I said, all right, I'll make it work. And I fell in love with it ever since.
Hell yeah, so you just got some new support, right, recently?
Yes, it just got some new support in Photon Hypernova. Yes, that was it. We got a new, very busted Xyz monster and a very much needed main deck monster. And it really helps kind of wrap the deck together so that way you're not just solely dependent on the field spell.
And let's go. Let's get into the deck, homie.
Alright, so main deck, extra deck. We're going to take a look at these first. So, of course, we have our newest addition to the Generator main deck. We have Vala, Sadir of the Generator bosses. She is really nice. It helps kind of unbrick your hands most time. There are ways to get her into the graveyard besides just Foolish Burial, and we're going to get to those here in a minute. But what she does is that when she's in your hand or graveyard, you can send a Generator card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon her. And when she is special summoned, you can special summon another Generator monster from your hand or graveyard. The pitch is not cost for it, and the effect does not target. She is really good for the deck, and she is also your main combo starter for your Xyz monsters. Then we have your other 3 of. This is Lopter, Shadow of the Generator bosses. During your opponent's turn, all your Generator monsters gain 1,000 attack and defense. This does include himself. He is the Lone Fire Blossom for the deck. And his effect is quick effect, but you need to make certain that you are going to be in main phase when you are triggering this effect. He is your greatest problem solver for getting more Generator boss monsters on the field besides Vala and the field spell. Very much needed for the deck. I play 2 Har as well. Most people will play only 1 or 3. I think 2 is very much the best for Har specifically. You are able to loop him out of the grave with Vala, and you are also able to capitalize on him when you are playing into your opponent's turn with the field spell. Most of the time, what I do is I use the field spell to bring Lopter out in defense mode. And then when the opponent activates something like Pot of Prosperity or begins to search, I will use Lopter's effect to tribute another Generator or Generator token, summon Har from the deck. He will have 4,000 attack and defense because Lopter's on board. And after the chain resolves, the opponent will add a card to the hand, and Har's effect will trigger that you can make them pitch a monster out of their hand or send one from their field. It is mandatory that it is a monster, as well as it is their choice. So you are kind of taking that initial sort of risk, making your opponent send monsters, but in the long run, it's also less resources for them.
Nice, nice. So we know where you stand at the whole 1 or 3. You don't agree with that. Nice. Me neither.
This is also a little bit divisive, is Hela. Her being at 1, I think, is a good thing. I've seen that in quite a few other people's generator decks. Hela is half of what Vala does. She can res a generator monster from the graveyard by tributing herself or another generator monster. The issue is that her effect does target, so you usually want to use her in a way that you know your opponent does not have a card in hand for response to, make you miss target, or you want to use her as a form of extension when you're going for game. She is very good in the sense that she's also got good defense. She's a 28k butt as well. Then we have 1 Utgarda. Very easy. Tribute 2 generator monsters, target a card, banish it. I've thought about cutting him from time to time, but every so often his effect does come up. 1 Mardell. You could play 2 of her if you really have issues getting to your other generator spells, or if you need a Vala in hand, she can bring it to your hand as well, because she can search any generator card. She can also search plant monster. There is Sun Avalon tie-ins for this deck as well, especially with Mardell. But that is not what I have here today. I will soon show you what that is. These 2 are a little bit divisive as well. So we have 1 Naglfar, Generator Boss of Fire, and we have 1 Nidhogg, Generator Boss of Ice. So most people do not play these because their effects are somewhat situational. However, there are times when you want to keep some of your main level 9s like Har and Vala from always being used up. And you will, if you don't manage it right, you could find yourself without enough resources to go into your rank 9 engine. So instead, we also play these 2, and they also have their own individual uses. Nidhogg allows you to tribute also himself, but another generator monster, to negate an inherent summon of a card and destroy it. I have used this on everything from Gigantic Sprite to Kashtira Riseheart to something like Baron de Fleur and things like that. And you can very easily catch an opponent off guard if you can get this out and they're about to go into their big boss monster like Zeus or whatnot, and you just absolutely rip that off their field. He does come in handy. Actually, he comes in handy more times than Utgarda for me, but not a lot of people play him. Like I said, he only works for inherent summons as well, so any kind of polymerization or fusion, that's the one you're most open to not hitting with Nidhogg. Naglfar is very situational, but most of the time he does come up. If any of my generator cards were to be destroyed by a card effect, I can destroy one other generator boss or one generator monster, or even another Beast Warrior monster to keep him and the cards that were being destroyed from being destroyed. It does come up, especially with the tokens. There is a way for you to keep your tokens at end phase. Instead, he can just blow up himself, and the tokens will stay on board, and you can do whatever you want with those tokens come your turn.
Speaking of tokens, you want to show them for the things?
Yes. I do have the tokens here, the actual name branded generator tokens with the correct stats and everything.
Ooh,
Getting some of these is a bit difficult right now. I hear they're actually pretty expensive as far as tokens go. But they are nice to look at, and it makes you look very professional when you're playing. So now we're going to get into the more spice part of this deck, and that is we are playing 3 Diviner of the Heralds. Diviner of the Heralds works very well. You can always dump things like your Lopter or your Vala. He will be a level 11, but if you're concerned with him being on field, so long as you can get into Jormungandr during your turn or your opponent's turn, you can always get the free draw and just suck up the vulnerable diviner as material for Yorm. He is also here in tandem with these two cards, Trias Hierarchia and DD Sprite. You don't necessarily have to run DD Sprite. It can be any level 1 fairy tuner, but it usually comes down to either this or another one called Bhutan. Bhutan is actually pretty good, just it's mostly bulk and I can't always find it. DD Sprite I've kept around forever because you can also, if you have another card on board besides the level 9, you can momentarily banish that to special summon DD Sprite from your hand. It has come up many times that I've had to do this because every so often I will hard draw the Sprite and no Herald, but I can always make do. Trias Hierarchia is actually a really busted card. I have caught too many people off guard, especially at this last regional, with this card. During the main phase, quick effect, it could be my main phase, the opponent's main phase, I can tribute up to 3 fairies, special summon this card. If I tribute 1, I just get the special summon. If I tribute 2, I get an extra pop of a card the opponent controls. If I tribute 3 or more, I get the special summon, the pop, and I draw 2 cards. This card is very good. You do want to be aware, though, that both Trias and Vala both have the clause that whenever you use their effects, if they leave the field, they get banished. So typically you want to use these for exceeds fodder, and you don't always want to use them for the combo that I'll show you towards the end of this. The main reason why we are playing the Diviner, Trias, and DD Sprite is to go into Baron de Fleur, because that is a very strong card right now. I don't really have to explain that part. That is the main monster lineup that I used for this regional. Now we're going to kind of move on to some hand traps. We played 3 Droll. We hard ran 3 Droll in the main deck, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. This card has let me OTK a sum total of 3 times in all my 9 matches. This is good. I would highly recommend continue to play it. I also ran 2 Effect Veilers. I decided to run it at 2. I wanted to see more Drolls than Effect Veilers. But afterwards, I would put it back to 3. I am also running 2 Ash. There may come a time where I actually side this now. Alright, so now we're going to get into the spells real quick. We played 3 Generator Boss Stage. Anytime, once per turn, if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, this does include the normal draw. Especially in their draw phase, you get a free special summon of a Generator Boss monster. It has to be in defense mode. Now this part of the effect is a soft once per turn, so if you get another copy out and your opponent adds a card, you can trigger it again. The part that is not a soft once per turn, it is absolutely once per turn, even if this card leaves the field, is the token summoning. And what happens is that you can actually kind of pick and choose your token summoning. So say you summon Lopter with the effect of Boss Stage, and you have another monster on board, or if you just want to keep Lopter on board, you can tribute Lopter for his effect to special summon out another generated boss from the deck, and then you can trigger the effect to summon the tokens. The token summoning effect is only once per turn when you special summon a generated monster on your opponent's turn. At the end of the turn, however, all of your tokens are destroyed. So if you get Nibiru'd and you have a Nibiru token on your side of the field, it will be destroyed at the end of the turn, even if this card is no longer on field. Having the tokens on field also will keep you very open to things like evenly matched. And you want to make sure that you can clear those tokens as quick as possible. One of the cards that helps you with that is Trias Hierarchia, because all of your tokens are level 4 light fairies, and you can tribute the lot of them to summon Trias, just to make sure that you can keep something from evenly matched. I also play the one boss quest. This is searchable with Mardell. Also helps with unbricking your hand. You reveal a generator monster in your hand. You search for 2 spell and traps with generator spell or traps with different names. And you add those 2 to your hand, and the one you revealed goes on bottom of the deck. Very simple. Then you also have the e-telly for the deck almost. You have...
Oh, yes.
3 World Legacy Monstrosity. This card is amazing. It does everything you want it to and more. This can get you a Vala out of your hand. This can get you 2 more from your deck as well. There have been many times where this plus Vala gets me a 3 material Lopter. And it is 100% the best card to special summon more generators besides your field spell. Alright, so now we're going to get into some interesting choices here. I did play 1 Terraforming. I also played 1 Triple Tactics Talent. And, oh, I'm sorry, that one's Thrust. Here's the Talent. 1 Thrust, 1 Talent. These 2 are still good. It's just the situations I was in did not really give me the high payoff I was looking for. And then 1 Change of Heart. This has really come in handy in the 3 times I OTK'd somebody in Regional. Very good card. It's just going to depend on your matchup whether or not it will be of use. And now we're going to move on to the last thing, the traps. 1 Generator Boss Room. This is the other target you search off of Generator Boss Quest. It's a very interesting effect, very similar to the Grapha Fusion monster, where if your opponent activates a card or effect in response to one of your generator monster's effects, or I'm sorry, one of your generator cards. So even if they respond to the field spell with Ash, you can activate the effect of Boss Room, where you have to discard 1 card for cost. The effect of the card that was chained to your generator card now becomes both players draw a card. Very underrated card. I have gone from playing 1 to 2 to 1 again. I might change it still, but it's still one of your better protection pieces for the deck. Then we played 2 Metaverse. Generators have their own in-archetype Metaverse. However, this does come up more because you sometimes have an interesting situation where your opponent is about to hit you with Zeus in defense mode, and you cannot negate it with Har because you and your opponent have already played past that point. You have no more interruptions to get rid of the Zeus. So what do? You have Metaverse face down. You activate that to add another copy of the boss stage to your hand. And then you should have some plays then on out. If not, this also helps in utilizing 2 generated boss stages during your opponent's turn if they're constantly searching for things. And if you also have room. Lastly, we were also hard playing the 3 evenly matches.
Oh, God.
Going first, people do not expect you to have evenly matched. So that way, once they clear your board with their evenly, they'll make theirs. You go into your turn 3, you out of nowhere hit them with your main deck evenly, and you still you still have plays because you also may have things like, Vala and Grave. And if you get one generator card, be it the field spell, the trap, any of the other monsters, you have plays right off the bat. Right now, the deck is currently sitting at 42 cards. We have the extra deck. This is your big bad boss monster, Yorm. Jormungandr, Generator Boss of Eternity, the World Serpent himself, is, for all intents and purposes, the biggest beat stick you can get. This guy gains 1,000 attack and defense for each material on him, and once per turn you can detach one material, both players draw a card, and then both players reattach material onto him, either from their hand or from their field. It can be any card, so long as he gets a material. So if you make him with 2 level 9s, he will be at 2,000. You activate his effect. After that, he'll be at 3. You can use more than just 2 level 9s as well. You can use 3, 4, and 5. And he will have a huge amount of attack if you do. This is Leviathan. If anything, this guy is like a custom card. He is so good. Leviathan says that while he's on your field, all of your opponent's monsters will lose 1,000 attack and defense. You can use this card's second effect. It is a quick effect, can be activated at any time, save for, of course, the damage step. You can tribute this card for cost, and then you will special summon out Yorm from your extra deck, and then you attach cards on field equal to the number of materials Leviathan originally had. So he's also one of those that can be 2+ level 9 monsters. So if you got him with 2 or 3 materials, you will be able to select cards your opponent controls or in their graveyards and attach them to Yorm as material. And a lot of people did not fully understand the effect of this, that it is all one effect. It does not happen at different times. You tribute, special, and then reattach. The attaching of materials is not a targeting effect, and you can't negate the summon of Yorm unless you say negate Leviathan. Oh, it is a really good card, and it actually is the better card that I use to go up against Kashtira, because once you hit Rise Heart, they're kind of just like, wow, I am not quite sure what to do now. Because if you played out their era, or if they're scared of Nib, you got him. Another one is Phantom Fortress Interblathnir, and he is for those very odd particular cards that can't be targeted, or if I'm trying to get a card out of the opponent's hand that I think I don't like. This did come up twice in the regional as well. We have a little bit of an unknown one here. This is Mirrorlogic Aggregator. Mirrorlogic Aggregator is pretty techy because not a lot of people will see this coming. When he is summoned, you send a card from your extra deck to the graveyard, and we play Intis just for that. You can also use Intis for Diviner as well, just to get a quick pop off if you're going second. It's very nice. When he's on field, you can detach materials from him and just reattach other materials from your graveyard. So you're just cycling out the materials that you use to make him. Now, when he leaves the field, period, if he gets banished, if he is linked off, if he is kaiju'd, if he leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, I can target a card the opponent controls. It has its effect permanently negated while it's on the field. That did not come up in this last regional, but at some of the locals I play, this came up a lot, and it was very funny to see that happen. The last thing we have here is, I'm not lying, this is bait. This is bait for Kashtira plays for Unicorn and for Diablosis, because they are so scared of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus that they do not take the time to read Leviathan.
That's hilarious.
It is. We play Baron de Fleur. So one of the things that you can do is that you can normal summon Diviner of the Heralds, send, you might as well search it. You send Trias Hierarchia. If you happen to hard draw the Trias, you can just send Vala. It's better for you that way. You can then use the effect of Trias from either hand or graveyard to tribute over your Diviner, special summon itself. Diviner's effect will kick in the graveyard to special summon the level 1 tuner, and that plus a level 9 equals a level 10. And Baron is the good card for that. Now, I also played Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Jianying. This is... I did take this out at one point, and I put it back in just for the YCS, but I only got to this card once, and it did not really work out. So I am actually planning on cutting this card so I can put back in Infinitrack Earth Slicer. Ooh. Infinitrack Earth Slicer is just a multi-optional destruction. You can, let me see, it's been a while since I even looked at this. Yes, detach any number of materials from this card, destroy cards on the field equal to the amount detached. Another one of those 2+ more level 9 monsters, and it is very easy to utilize in this as well. Jianying I was trying to use against Runic. Unfortunately for me, I only got into one Runic Sprite Live Twin player, and this never came up. So instead, I do plan on cutting it for the Earth Slicer again. And that's the Entis. And so now we're going to look at Link monsters. We have one IP Masquerena, kind of standard. We have one Bujinki Ahashima. I have been on this card since before Sprite made it popular. I just want to get that out there. This card was great. It works against back row decks. Just for when you happen to exceed summon in the same zone it's pointing to, you get a free spell and trap card pop. It does come up, I promise. One Nightmare Unicorn. Really good card, what can I say? One Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. This came up one time against the Drytron player. It's Appaloosa, what did you expect? And lastly, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Also made an appearance against Kashtira. Unfortunately, I still didn't even win that match. It happens. So that's all for the main and extra deck. Let's take a look at what I decided to put in the side. Side deck, we had 3 Ghost Bell of the Haunted Mansion, 2 Nibiru the Primal Being, 2 Crossout Designator, 3 Dark Ruler No Mores, 2 Skill Drains. You can always play Skill Drain under Generators because you can tribute the Generators themselves for cost to make sure that the effect resolves. And lastly, 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance because Runic is a thing.
Alright, so real quick, let's just go over matchups super quick.
Let's see.
So it was 5-4, right?
Total match ranking was 5 wins, 4 losses. First, I would say the first matchup was against Trap Tricks. Very easy matchup. I got through that easily. Second matchup was with Labyrinth. Was a little bit harder than the Trap Tricks, but I was still able to kind of get on top. This is a good matchup against Labyrinth because most of these guys, like I said, they tribute for cost for their effects. So whenever they would decide to use their normal trap cards, you were automatically getting around it. Third match, I actually lost because I got paired up against a cash tier player. Unfortunately, did not draw the best of hands, and that is everybody's worst enemy whenever it comes to playing is the bricks. Fourth matchup was against Sprite deck. Sprite Adventure deck, I'm sorry. I went up against that. I 2-0'd him very quickly. Fourth matchup was against another cash tier deck. I kind of made him mad. I opened up Droll all three games.
This is the same dude I also opened up Droll against, and he was so salty.
Exactly. I heard about that earlier, and I was just, wow. It just was not to be for him. But opened up Droll 3 times. I 2-0'd Drytron right after him. The other deck I went up against was also another Sprite deck. I barely managed to beat that one out. So those were my 5 wins, and then the last 3 afterwards were 2 more cash tier matchups and 2 more Sprite Live Twin matchups. I was very lucky to have avoided Nat Runic. That is a hard deck matchup between this and Generators, but I also was kind of remiss that I did not get the chance to go up against more Labyrinth players. Unfortunately, one of our group also went up against 4 Labyrinth players in a row, and I was so envious. That was my matchup. Pretty decent.
Nice. Hey, man, not bad for Generators, bro. That's super cool, and you're going to do better next time. I know this was my first serious regionals. Last one I went to was kind of I'll put a video about my deck here up soon as well. I'm
looking forward to that as well.
Well, man, you got any shoutouts or anything here at the end?
I got shoutouts to Izzy, to
the Goaty God,
the Goaty God, who will be on here again soon
once he makes my fucking graphics.
Shout out to, of course, my boy here in his channel. Shout out to a few of our other friends in the group who listen to me talk about generators. Sean, Will, and Mondo. They listen to me talk about those almost daily now. I think that's it for mostly shoutouts. As far as the deck for the future, I do have a plan to go back to that scummy idea of doing Droll plus Trickstar Reincarnation now. Again, just it has potential. I'm going to be that guy again. And we'll see how things go from here. And if I show back up on here again with a even more disgusting Generaider Deck Profile, I think our boy here, Milos, is going to be able to take care of it.
Oh yeah, 100%, bro. Also looking forward to that Pearly deck.
Of course. I'll let you know how I do with that, too.
Cool. Well, man, hey, thanks so much for being on. Appreciate you. We're going to post this epic of, I don't know how long it's going to be after editing, but boy, oof. Anyways, cool. Thanks so much for watching. If you ever want to know about generators, this is the end-all, be-all generator video. Thanks so much, and see you later.
See you later, guys.